Imagine that you start exchanging cookies with someone. At the beginning, the cookies that you give them, they really like. The cookies they give you, you really like. It's all working out great. And one day, the other person takes a tiny little piece of onion and puts it in your cookie. And you eat the cookie and you're like, that tasted kind of weird, but you know what? All the rest of these cookies taste fine. So like that was probably nothing. I'm not going to mention it. But then it happens a few more times. And so you say to them, like, I don't know what it is about the cookies, but they're tasting a little bit off, like kind of like onions. And I don't really know what's going on. And the person is like, how could you suggest I would put onions in these cookies? That's crazy. It's been the same cookie recipe the whole time. And you're like, okay, I mean, that does make sense, because why would anybody put onions in a cookie? It must be something wrong with my own taste buds, and I'll just have to kind of like deal with that. And then what happens is that the other person then comes to you and says, hey, your cookies are tasting bad. And you're like, wait, what did I do? I don't think I've changed the recipe. Did I accidentally put an onion in their cookie? And they're like, I don't know, but you need to figure it out and just make it taste better. And you think, okay, that's fair, because I was able to go to them and tell them that my cookie tasted weird. They should be able to come to me and tell me that their cookie tastes weird. And so you try to figure out how to fix it. And sometimes you make better cookies that they like, and sometimes you don't, and they get mad or upset that you're not even trying to make cookies for them anymore. And you don't even trust your own taste buds at this point, because you've been eating onion cookies for years. So you're just like, maybe I just have no idea how to make cookies. I have no idea what they're supposed to taste like at all. And then one time you do find a tiny little piece of onion that you can show the other person. And when they see it, they're like, I'm so sorry. This was an accident. I don't know what happened. I was just busy. I was just stressed. They have some excuse that makes a lot of sense to you. And then the cookies start to taste really good again for a while. And you're like, I don't know what I was talking about. Everything's fine. And then slowly more onions start to get added to the cookies, and the whole cycle goes over again. Until you finally are like, you know what? I don't think I want to exchange cookies with you anymore. They get really upset and they're like, but I've been feeding you for years. How could you just stop eating my cookies? And then they also say, how could you take your cookies away from me? Like, I love your cookies. I need those. And you're like, but you've been saying they're bad. And they're like, no, I need them. I can't survive without yours. Like I'm going to die if I don't have your cookies. And how could you be so ungrateful as to walk away from my cookies? That makes no sense. So then you have no sense of whether you should leave or go, or what is right and what is wrong and what is up and what is down. And the only thing that gives you some clarity is when you do finally taste another cookie and you're like, oh my God, that's what cookies are supposed to taste like? Because you had completely forgotten and maybe had never even known what cookies are supposed to taste like. Not only that, the person is like, yeah, I love your cookies all the time. Your recipe's perfect. Don't change a thing. Anyone who doesn't like these cookies is insane. And you're like, oh, okay. So I'm good at making cookies? And only then do you realize, oh, I've been gaslit. That's what gaslighting is.